Henry's story might feel finished. We know where he came from, we know who he became, we've watched him survive the war. But here's the part people don't really talk about. It's hard to picture Henry ever going back to a normal life. And that might mean his real story is only beginning. This isn't about predicting another war, and it's not about retelling history. This is more about something personal. If Henry's journey continues, the real question isn't where the war goes next, it's where he goes. Because the man we see now isn't the same person who left Skalitz. And there's no real way back to who he used to be. At the start, Henry was just a nobody, just a blacksmith's son, unknown and powerless. Now he's something completely different. He's fought beside nobles, earned their trust, proved himself over and over again. In a world like Bohemia, that changes everything. Men in Henry's position don't just disappear back into a quiet village. They become known, they become useful, and they become valuable. If he tried to walk away and live somewhere quiet, it wouldn't be that simple. People would recognize him, pull him back in, or use him because who he is connected to. Henry is already too deep in this world, not because he planned it, because it pulled him in and never really let go. Quick spoiler warning, from here on, I'll be talking a bit about where the war and the political situation stand later in the story, but I won't be getting into certain character moments or major plot reveals. Even with the crown restored, Bohemia isn't truly stable. On the surface, things might look under control. The king is still seen as weak, and real order is being held together by nobles and loyalists, trying to keep the country from slipping back into chaos. And that kind of peace doesn't last easily. Supporters of Sigismund don't just disappear overnight. Tensions don't vanish. Power struggles don't suddenly stop. But the pressure is still there. In a world like that, men like Henry become important, whether they want it or not. Some people think the story could jump years ahead into the next major conflict. But that skips the most important part of Henry's journey. The part where he finds his place, where loyalty starts to matter more than survival, where he stops just following orders and starts becoming something more. The first two games stayed close to the events happening around him, so the story likely wouldn't skip years into the future. It would just pick up where he left off, in the middle of everything that comes after the war. That's where things would really start to change for him. If Henry can't go back into a normal life, then where does he belong? The answer has been right in front of us the whole time, right beside Hans. Their relationship changed everything. They started as complete opposites, but over time that turned into respect and into real trust. Hans was born into nobility, Henry wasn't. But Henry became the kind of man nobles rely on. He's strong, capable, and proven. In a country trying to hold itself together, someone like Hans would need a man like Henry on his side. Not as a king or a lord, but as something just as important. As a protector, a right-hand man, someone who stays behind him when things get difficult. In a way, Henry's main arc does feel complete. We understand his past now. We understand who he is, where he came from, what made him the person who he is now. That part of the story feels finished. But his future? That's still wide open. We still don't know where he ends up. His beginning is over, but his life isn't. Henry didn't choose this path. It was forced onto him, but now he's part of something much bigger than himself. The kingdom looks stable on the surface. The war has slowed. The crown is back where it belongs. But the aftermath, all of that, things are still shifting. In a world like that, people like Henry don't always get to walk away. Now that Henry can't go back to who he was, the real question is what he becomes next.